Investment and Remedial Matters Bill, third reading.
Call on Government Order of the Day, number 2.
Appropriation 2010-11 Financial Review Bill, committee stage.
I declare the House in committee for further consideration of the Appropriation 2010-11 Financial Bill. Mr. Chairman.
Members, the House and Committee on the Appropriation 2010-11 Financial Review Bill. Members, when we last considered this bill, we were debating the report of the Commerce Committee on the 2010-11 Financial Review of the Ministry of Economic Development. The Honourable David Cunliffe had the call and he has 4 minutes 45 seconds remaining. The Honourable David Cunliffe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and it's a pleasure to resume this call for the Economic Development section of the Appropriations 2010-11 Financial Review Bill. Mr. Chairman, for the sake of every New Zealand child growing up wanting to work in a good job in New Zealand, and for the sake of the grandparents hoping to see their children grow up here, for the sake of every Christchurch family and business waiting to see decisive action to lead the rebuild of Christchurch, for the sake of those patriotic businesses that have not yet sold up or been shipped out, may the government please get a real plan to grow this economy. Mr. Chairman, a real plan has strategy. It shows a future state and a plan to get there. It has performance measures. It tracks progress towards that, Mr. Chairman, and there is nothing in the record of the Ministry of Economic Development which indicates that such a plan has yet been effected by this government. Sir, I must, however, praise the Ministry for this, that its briefing to its incoming Minister has made very clear that a reliance on the negative politics of free markets, hoping that cutting and selling and deregulating and tax cutting our way out of the hole will work, is, in their words, in no way sufficient in a small and remote economy. What they say, quite rightly, is that a much more ambitious plan is required. So, Mr. Chairman, it must be common ground that a real plan doesn't rely on light-handed free markets where they are dysfunctional. That neoliberalism gave us the great financial crisis, and that austerity economics has given us a long recession to follow. A real plan, sir, does not imagine that balancing the government's books at the expense of businesses or the economy's books is a way to get us out of the hole. As my colleague David Parker has said, a billion-dollar budget hole is a sure sign that the plan is not working. And in the absence of a credible, obvious, clear economic strategy, something that would guide the actions of ministers in a transparent and credible way, what we see from the Minister of Economic Development and the Prime Minister is a habit now of being involved in one-off, questionable deals, lacking transparent processes for some of the largest, most powerful corporates in New Zealand. Sky City Casino, currently underway. MediaWorks, Warner Brothers, selling the telco law to split telecom, and now the dot-com scandal. Mr. Chairman, this government is showing all the signs of being a tired, ragged, third-term government on its way to collapse. Will they last to the election? Yes, you are looking like a third-term election, only 3 months into your second. Mr. Foss, I can count to 3, says the Minister of Comments. Wonderful. Good that he's holding up 3 fingers. It looks like a third-term government, even though it's a second-term government, and that is the point. And a third-term government sometimes look ragged. They sometimes do deals with their mates. They run out of steam. They do not have a clear plan, and this government has got there in record time. It's got there in record time, and sir, it might be funny if it weren't for the fact that it will impact the lives, careers, incomes, family of real New Zealanders. The 1,000+ a week that are voting with their feet because they know that their opportunities are more limited here than they are across the ditch. The ones who listened to John Key 3 and a bit years ago when he told them that if he was elected, the gap with Australia would be closed and the brain drain would be stopped. Well, it's got worse, Mr. Chairman. It's got worse. Time for a plan. Time for some strong government action to get the economy moving. Time for growth, Mr. Chairman, and economic development before it's too late.
Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable David Carter.
Mr. Speaker, if that was a leadership bid by Mr.